Three things here. These menus right now we're in run. These menu keys, we're going to take it out of run. So we'll say more, and when we get to the live display, you'll see this is the main menu. You can say more, live display, service menu, and the more button just takes you through the main menu of the buttons, okay? So let's say we go into general data. It says SK1, this soft key is SK1. We can enter a password. Don't suggest you do that, but if you do, you can put 0 in there, and it wipes it out if you forget it. But you say more, you go to the next one. This is a date and time. The date and time is very important for the calibration because it takes that decay rate out every night at midnight according to the time that you have set. So you want to enter that when you do a calibration. Now, once we're in the date and time, you can see these same soft keys that said SK1, SK2. Now move the cursor around in there. And they also move it up for their numbers, and they roll around to 9. The gauge, I can change whatever I want, but if I don't say enter, it won't hold any numbers.
How do you get to the time? Did you just keep pushing that and it'll move down?
I'm sorry, to the time?
Yeah.
If I say enter, it moves down to the next line.
Okay.
Okay, I've not changed anything, so I can say enter, and it goes down to the next line. So then I can move the key over and change what I want there, and now it says 11. We know that's wrong, but you know what? I'll say more, and I'll go back around to it, and there's a detector software and all that. I'll go back around to it, and I'll say general data, and you'll see that it didn't hold it because I didn't say enter on that one. So now we'll go on through the menu. A few things you want to look at is operating mode. We have a rod detector on this one. You can do rod detector, you can do exponential, you can do linear. If you do linear, which is a general calibration, usually you have a point detector. You're going to do an open and a close. It's going to ask you for an empty and a full. This case, we're doing a rod detector. Because we have a rod detector, it's going to give us up to 25 points on that rod detector. We can still do an open and a close, we can still do a full and an empty, but we're just going to do 2 points. The rest of the points after that, when we go into the calibration mode, we'll put 0 in the third point, and it doesn't use the rest of the points. So we'll say more. In case of an error, we've got it set to continue. Once again, you have this little cursor button, continue, stop, measure. We want to continue the measurement. So if it goes into error, it holds that measurement. Then after the way we have it set for a certain milliamp out, as soon as the error goes away, it continues measurement instead of holding that measurement, and you happen to come out and push enter. Current following, if you're using a relay, it just follows, the current follows whatever the error is. And we've got that set to the measurement parameter. Well, we'll go back into that, talk about that more in a minute. We've got the detector code for what you have. That's in the manual. It's 10. Your isotope, cesium-137. So you hit enter, it goes down to the next line. You can change that to whatever you want. I'm not going to hit enter there, and it'll hold that. Time constant. This is what you were real concerned about. This can be manipulated and changed without having to recalibrate. Right now we have it on 30 seconds because of your particular process, and you can just move it over to whatever you want, and then move it up to whatever you want. Now, if I change it, it's not going to hold that until and you can go up to
a lot. Yeah,
three digits, but it's not going to hold that. So I guess that'd be 999. Yeah, but it's not going to hold that, and that's all in seconds, 999 seconds. It's not going to hold that if I don't say enter. So I'll just say more, and this is rapid switchover in case there's radiation interference around. You don't have to worry about that. It's just if somebody's doing x-rays in a certain area, it automatically has a signal. It switches over, I think 1/5. It takes the time constant down 1/5, so it switches over, or a factor of 1/5. I forget exactly, but it takes the time constant and switches it over a lot faster, so it switches the measurement output in case there was radiation interference. So it automatically see, oh, I've got a high jump in counts. Then it automatically knows that, okay, I've got radiation interference. It jumps back down to the other reading. Your maximum rate, if you're using relays, you need to set those, and it does that with calibration. If you're not using relays, I set them to 0. That way it won't cause any errors. And the same with the minimum rate. Source replacement. This is where when you do a calibration, it calibrates when the source is decayed. You have cesium, that's 30.17 years, so it's a long time, but every night at midnight, as I said, it takes the time, the decay rate out. So you want to, when you do a calibration, it sets that. The thing to know here, you really don't have to worry about this, is that if you don't say clear and put a 0 there and enter that, then when you do your calibration, it holds the last number. So you just clear that, and then now when I do a recalibration today, you'll get a new source decay date. That when the source gets so low on counts, it says, okay, your source is going dead, you better do something soon, you know, which is 30 years, will probably tell you a year ahead of time or whatever, but, you know, and that's really, you probably get 2 half-lives out of your source, pretty close, at least 1.5, I'd say. We try to size them for that. So we'll go into measuring parameters. That's what we just went through, and you see we're still on all the same numbers we had, except for we did change the source decay, or source replacement date. Output parameters, this is where you get your output parameters at, and we do a 0 to 4 or 4 to 20. 0 to 4 for European, 4 to 20 for US usually. You all are using a 4 to 20. We just set it to 4 to 20 with this button, say enter, it holds it. And then your output for your 4 is 0%, your 20 milliamps is 100%. So if you're reading 50%, you should have 12 milliamps. It's just a 4 to 20. And there's where we talked about the output error. You get a value, and that's what we set it to. You can't set it to hold. No, we wanted a value, and you're going to have a value of 20 milliamps, so that you'll know that there's some type of error. You know, if you know your vessel's not full, which is what 20 milliamps will report to you, and then as soon as the error goes away, it's going to clear and start running again.
So if there's an error, it's going to go right to 100%.
It'll show you 100% out, but as soon as that error goes away, it'll clear. Okay. So if you have a trend, you can look and see, oh, we had an error sometime during the night. We had 100%, but we knew we weren't, you know, we were down at 10%.
What caused an error?
Yeah.
This thing?
Power glitch,
Gotcha.
Anything could, yeah. It's hard to say what would actually cause an error, but, and this is where you set your relays, the minimum and maximum. We're not going to go into all that right now. So now we're going to go just straight to the calibration. So in your case, right now we do have a rod detector. We picked that, so we want to do a background on the rod detector. So now we'll say run, and it's going to start reading in those count rates. Right now the vessel's empty, source is closed, and we have plates behind it to help block any stray radiation that's coming off the source. So now we have nothing but the atmosphere background. And the only thing we have to know here is we have a 30-second time constant. So with a 30-second time constant, we have to do how long to make an RC time constant, which is 5 time constants. So that'd be 30 times 5. It's what, 2.5 minutes. You'd have to go at least 2.5 minutes. I'd go a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
Is what you'll see is this last digit will just sort of settle down a little bit and not move very rarely. Then you know you're okay. In this case, we'll do at least I'd do at least 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm just going to say take it out of run and go on. And you can say read or enter.
So you're not going to calibrate it now?
No.
Okay. That's fine.
Well, I'll tell you what, we will go back, and there's your value pair 1, value pair 2, value pair 3 is 0, like we talked about. But we will go back, and then it shows you what you did. We'll do the calibration, we'll do run, let it run. Okay, we've ran for
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, this number's good and settled out. Take it out of run, say enter. I got my background rate. So now it's going to say read or enter. Okay. Now I can also enter one there, but now if it's, let's say if I leave you the parameters, you can also enter them in. Say enter here, and it's going. You don't have to read them in. You can all re-enter them if you lost all your data. Okay?
Oh, gotcha.
So we're going to read them in though. We're going to let the source do its thing. So now we're at value pair 1, which is 0%. So right now we have the source closed, so that'd be full. We're mimicking a full. So you can make 100% there, or you can make it 0. Doesn't matter which way you go. But we'll go on and do the 100%.
So with the thing closed, it mimics it as full. That's right.
It's simulating it full because you're blocking the radiation. Yep. And that's all we're doing here. The more radiation you block, we're simulating that.
So it's important to put that steel in there.
Just to do the background.
Just for the background.
Yeah,
okay.
If you close it, when we take that steel out, we'll do 100%, and we'll just do the same thing. We'll enter 100%, enter, and then we'll say run. And now you should have just a few more counts than you would have when you did a background.
You still have to wait the 4 minutes or whatever. That
same thing. You wait the 4 minutes.
Give it some time.
We waited 4 minutes, and then we say take it out of run. It's settled down. I don't see nothing but this last number moving. We say enter, and we say enter. So we take it out of run, then push enter, and so now we've got it calibrated. It's my value pair 2. Now, assuming we've already did value pair 0 with the source open, we skipped over that. So now we got the value pair 3, because we can do up to 25 pairs. We're only going to do it linear. We're only going to do a top and a bottom and take the background out of it. So here we're just going to leave that at 0. And you just say enter, or you just leave it alone. Either way, it's already entered as 0. We'll say more, and all of a sudden it goes to my empty count rate. Empties this, it shows me what it is. Empties that at that, and then I'll also do my full, and it shows me what my full is. You don't have to say, I go ahead and say enter on these as well, just to confirm my calibration. And then now that I've got it done, I'm back to the main menu. At this point, I can go around to live data, or I can just say run, and it's automatically going to show start running and measuring. Run is also measuring my calibration. So here we have, I'm reading right now, this is a mock calibration, really not, we didn't really do my counts, but I got 101.3%. And we didn't do the time constant long enough, but pretty much that's how you calibrate, how you run the gauge. Thank you. Now we'll do a